I don't like it. Everyone, this is Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Don't curse, speak English. Armstrong. Virtuous society. Armstrong. I dare you to listen. Hey, turn it up. Hey. Armstrong. Get on the right side. Armstrong. Elevate your mind. Armstrong. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side. Armstrong. Hey, yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned in to the most conservative of our brothers. Armstrong. The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up. Hello, everybody. Logan Delany, how are you today? Logan? I'm not hearing Logan. Oh, boy, not again today. Logan, you can't hear me? Come on, guys. I'm not hearing Logan.
Those engineers working.
It is working, Logan. It is working.
Oh, it is working.
Yes, it is.
You still can't hear me.
I just wanted to make sure. I want to say out loud you could stream.
Oh, listen, I'm yelling as loud as I can.
I'm just messing with you, brother. How are you doing today?
Hey, listen, I tell you, it's a beautiful day down here. The blue sky. You know, it's a nice, comfortable, warm temperature. You couldn't ask for a nicer day. So Logan, I'm doing really well.
We're going to have some fun today because you know who our very special guest is. He's a conservative Republican who believes in small government, religious and financial liberty, and protecting the original meaning of the U.S. Constitution. His name is Ken Leonczyk, Jr. He's a Christian pastor and evangelist and also has an extensive background in finance and public policy. Yeah, I always had a problem with ministers running for public office, but maybe he can put that to rest for me today. But, you know, I had to get that in there. Should we saw?
I'm sure you aren't alone in that. I had the same problem, but you know we'll let our guest tell us about that.
Now, Ken attended Charlotte Latin School, where he played football and lacrosse, and was vice president of the student body. He joins us live. He's a candidate for Congress. Ken, welcome to the show.
Having me on, and it's great to be on. It's beautiful down here in Charlotte.
Did you hear our initial criticism?
I did. You know, but before responding, I just want to give you the opportunity. And your, you know, what is the problem? Do you think with pastors running for office? Because maybe I can.
Can I tell you the problem? My real problem with you, Ken, is not so much that you became a minister. You know, you went to theology school, but that you went to Yale Law School. Now, Yale Law School is the most liberal law school in the world. And I actually went to a liberal law school, but not nearly as liberal as Yale.
He attended
I think
Harvard.
They're all liberal.
So my problem is, I know when you come out of Yale, they teach you how to interpret the Constitution not according to the four corners of the document, but according to whatever you think is right.
That's what they teach, but luckily I was a strong member of the Federalist Society. I've been involved with them since law school and afterwards. And I take a very plain meaning, originalist viewpoint. I had a great discussion with a gentleman at Freedom Works the other day, actually, about why I thought Clarence Thomas's view on the Commerce Clause was a more correct reading of the Constitution than Justice Scalia. So I'm pretty originalist. They teach you, but we've got to come out there with our own minds. They might teach you one way, but luckily there was enough conservatives at Yale Law School and enough people in the community where we could bring in speakers from outside. And that's what the Federalist Society did. So I'm very thankful that I learned from them.
You're running for Sue Myrick's old seat. Tell us about that district and why did you decide to put your head in the ring?
You know, that's a great question. I am running for Sue Myrick's seat, and she did a wonderful job representing Charlotte for a good long while. This seat has been filled, I believe, by 4 people in the last 50 years. So they've all done a long-term good job. I left my job from D.C. I was counsel to the House of Representatives Financial Services Committee, working in investigations and oversight. I was handling the investigation to MF Global and working to bring down Dodd-Frank, and then working at a Falls church plant called Christ the King as an assisting evangelist in Alexandria on the Sundays. And so Sue said she was retiring, and I talked with my wife and with some close friends, and I saw that seat. I never really was planning on running for Congress. But we talked about it and said, you know, I think America is really going down the wrong path. And I think one of the problems is we keep electing the same people and we keep getting the same results. So I'm going to offer a totally fresh and different perspective. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to be myself. I'm going to come home, and we'll see if the voters like what they hear. So, you know, the main reason I'm running is I think I've got the skill set from financial services, because Charlotte is the second largest financial services region outside of New York, so it's the second largest in the country. From being a social conservative, which I am, I've been fighting the culture war, and I've been an evangelist in Sudan, so I've seen radical Islam right in front of me, just as I've seen radical secularism at Yale Law School. So I thought I brought, you know, together these 2 strains of the Republican Party and some fresh ideas, and wanted to come down and say, look, let's fix this together. There is hope. Mr. Obama wasn't wrong about hope. He just had hope in the wrong thing. If we have hope, faith, and love, and if we return to original Republican principles, which are what our founders envisioned, I think we can get right back on track.
You know, Ken, it seems to me that so many young people come to Washington with idealistic views and a sense of how they're going to make the world better. And something happens when they get to that town. I don't know if it's in the air, it's in the water, but so many of them get corrupted by the power. You know the words of Lord Acton, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know, how do you plan? I mean, I know you're a man of the Lord, but you know, you're walking into the devil's den. How are you going to keep yourself from the temptations that the devil's going to throw at you when you get to Washington?
That's a great question. And look, yeah, I walk with the Lord, but that doesn't make me perfect. So we got to be clear on that. And those temptations will be there, and we're all human, and we can all fall pretty far off the path, given the right circumstances. So I hope it's through my faith. I hope it's with my wife, who keeps me accountable. She's actually a lot smarter than I am and has a wonderful faith. And we surround ourselves with some real good friends, some smart people. I actually have an accountability partner. You know, it's funny, you talk about that on the campaign trail, and people are like, well, what are you talking about? And so there's a lawyer in town. He was a D.C. circuit clerk, smart guy. We talk once a week about where we think we've fallen down, you know, where we've sinned, where we've let our wives down. That's how I keep my personal life together. I think, you know, I'd continue that in D.C. The thing is, I think D.C. corrupts because there's an animal there called the bureaucrat that people don't realize exists. And they get up there and they either get turned off by that animal called the bureaucrat that seeks only to grow, and it's like a cancer getting larger and larger, or they become one of those things and they start using words like equities, and they're not talking about stocks, they're talking about, you know, their prerogatives. and they have a whole new speak. And I think that's actually one of the problems with D.C. is we get young, exciting, idealistic people up there, and either they become a part of that system of government that includes the bureaucrat, and that they can't get out of there. I mean, Ronald Reagan said no government ever voluntarily reduces itself in size. Government programs once launched never disappear. He said a government bureau is the nearest thing to eternal life we'll ever see on this earth. I mean, I think that's part of the problem.
I think that is too.
We get the people that become a part of that. And then the second is, you're right. So let's be honest. This is about power. The people we elect, we're electing people who will have an enormous amount of power. If you elect someone to go to Congress, you are giving them an enormous amount of power. And to pretend otherwise is, I think, naive. They have the power to enact laws that can make you richer or poorer. They have the power to enact laws that will increase your liberty or decrease it. They have the power to have a direct impact on your lives. So I think we got to just acknowledge that immediately and say that power is there. But power can also be a good thing. We talk about the power of the Holy Spirit. We've talked about the power to do good. So I think it's about being right-focused and having a community to keep you in check. Because I'm not perfect. I mean, I'm far from it. But hopefully I've surrounded myself with enough good people who I trust, mentors who are older, and people in my own generation that can hold me accountable and say, hey, this is what you believe in. This is what you've always believed in. Stick with it.
I can tell you one thing. You sure can talk like a politician, too.
That's too bad.
How do you know how you judge whether a politician can talk well or not?
How's that?
You can't get a word in edgewise.
Well, I hate to tell you this other one, but you know how you can tell whether a politician is lying?
His lips are not moving.
I get that. Look, you can talk to my wife. She can't get no one can get a word in edgewise. That's been a long time. But
look, what are the challenges you face in your district, and how many people are running? And I read where the outgoing incumbent and the retirees, Sue Myrick, has endorsed someone else. What kind of challenge does that present for you?
Look, I face a number of challenges. There are 11 people in this primary. A lot of hats got thrown into the ring. Sue endorsed a really great guy who was a longtime sheriff, worked a little bit up in D.C. and ICE, and then came back as a county commissioner, someone I respect greatly. And they're good friends. And then there are other people in the race. Look, everyone who signed up for this race thinks they have their own views that they bring, and they're all brave. And
hold that point. This is the Armstrong Williams Show. Our very special guest is Ken Leonczyk. He's a candidate for Congress, Sue Myrick's district in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Logan Delany and I will be back. Don't go away. The phone line's open.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Make sure your leftovers are as safe as
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
That's foodsafety.gov.
Hello, my name is Ron Moulton. I'm running as a Republican for the City Council and Nations Capital, a political arena dominated by the Democratic Party. I'm seeking office in Ward 7, overwhelmed by unemployment and poverty. For the first time in decades, we have an opportunity to be elected as the people that need the representation the most are now responding to the principles that will uplift them. For more information about my values and to donate, please visit www.ronmoulton.com.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, we have Ken on today because we believe he's just a very decent person. He separates himself from many other people that are running for office. He's genuine. Whether he will change and whether he can adhere to what he's saying now, even though we know he believes what he's saying, that's different because a lot of times what people say and the reality of what they do can be worlds apart. But today, I can vouch and say that he's a good person, he's decent, and he's worthy of a shot at becoming a member of that august body known as Congress. But you were telling us the fact that you're running against 11 people. The incumbent who's retiring is not endorsing you. It is a struggle to raise money, and many people will tell you that it takes money and a great publicity campaign to win elections. How do you plan, given those odds that were just mentioned, to be successful and being elected and making the people believe and realize that you're the best candidate?
You know, we've faced lots of challenges. Even my name, Leonczyk. No one pronounces it right. My best friends don't pronounce it right. That's tough in the Southeast.
I didn't pronounce it right.
Even you, yeah, we've talked, people, I've got Leon Shashevsky, I got Leon Ski, Leon Gretzky, whatever, just call me Ken. And it's tough. We don't have the kind of money that the other people in this election have. We are focusing on online messaging. I've got my Facebook.com/Ken for Congress, where people can actually communicate with me. I have my Twitter feed. Again, that's the Twitter at Ken for Congress. I got a website, voteken2012.com. Those are places where people can actually, and the website's still under work, but you can see some things up there now, including a video of some folks in Sudan that I had helped when they'd been bombed. But the point is, we're trying to make use of technology so that people who don't get to meet me can interact with me on the web. Because I'm not spending millions of dollars on TV ads. We're not going to have any TV ads. Instead, I'm going door to door. Back in the old days, congressmen went door to door and shook hands with the people they were representing, and I've been doing that. And we've gotten a great response for that grassroots effort. We've got a lot of volunteers. It's tough. Sue didn't endorse me. She endorsed someone else. That's all right, And frankly, in a race of 11, it's probably going to go to a runoff. It's probably going to go to the top two. And my thought is at that point, people will look beyond just names and will really get into looking at the issues and what each candidate brings to the table when it comes to plans. So there are real challenges. We're hoping to make it up with energy, with excitement, with a real issue-based campaign. And then finally, look, this campaign that I'm running is an American Dream campaign. It's a substantive American Dream campaign. We talk about making the pie bigger. We talk about increasing the opportunities for entrepreneurship and risk-taking. We talk about getting rid of the regulatory red tape that are keeping businesses from being able to make profits and create jobs. We're talking about restoring the link between effort and outcome so hardworking people can once again feel the fruits of their work. People get excited when they hear that, and they know that that's not just sort of politico talk. It's a real plan to get us back on track, because the American dream is real. It's that shining light, It's that place where people from Sudan can come on over as legal immigrants and find the opportunity to get into our melting pot and join our community. So I'm trying to do that on a ground level.
Ken, as a practical matter, what are the 3 or 4 issues that you think resonates with your constituents that you can take to them and you want them to know this is what Ken, in your campaign for Congress, these are my 3 or 4 priorities, and you're going to benefit from them?
I'm a pro-growth Republican. This is a town that got hit so hard by the financial crisis. It's a huge financial services town, and it trickles down. If the banks fail, then the people who would be getting credit from the banks fail. So the fact that I have deep knowledge of Dodd-Frank and ideas about getting us back on track with an economic plan, that resonates. It's social values. It's the fact that as a social conservative, I'm unafraid to speak loudly and proudly about my social views while at the same time being a constitutional conservative, meaning I understand what's the difference between a federal decision and a state decision. That really resonates with people down here. They care about the Constitution, right? It's jobs first, but I'd say those are the 3 main issues. It's the jobs and the fact that I get the financial services industry and have an economic plan. It's that I'm a real live social conservative who's been living it for the past number of years, not just talking about it. I mean, literally, going into Sudan with a Bible to go on mission, preaching at Yale to go on mission, and then it's third I lost my train of thought. Bringing those issues to the people. I mean, that's what people are getting excited about, and I think they like those issues.
Describe to us just what it really takes to be a candidate for office these days, how much it has changed from the day when you didn't have to contend with the media and these other distractions, social media. What does it really take, the kind of sacrifice that someone makes to make this journey?
That's a fabulous question, and number 3 was constitutional conservatism came back to my mind. Everyone in this election, every candidate running for office here has sacrificed a tremendous amount. This is a 24/7 job for me. You're away from your wife. You have to constantly be out meeting with people. When the press calls, you have to talk with them. There's a significant amount of fundraising. I mean, even for me in a grassroots campaign, there's someone in the campaign who's self-funding millions and doing television commercials. But even for me at a grassroots campaign, I've got to do a lot of fundraising. I've got to understand how Twitter works, which luckily because I'm the youngest candidate, I think I'm probably one of the few that's actually tweeting myself and getting on Facebook myself. Maybe some of the other guys are. But, that's the modern campaign. The truth is, I'm trying to prove a general rule wrong, and we'll see if it works. I'm trying to prove the rule that he who has the most money wins to be wrong. And I'm hoping that'll work out, because there are a lot of good people who want to get involved in politics but don't like the fundraising aspect and just don't have the huge amounts of cash and huge amounts of people with cash behind them.
I wish there were a way in which you could take the cash issue out, but I'm afraid that there really isn't, because cash is a way that people have freedom of speech. If you really believe in somebody and you believe in something, you should have the ability to spend your money to broadcast that to anybody that'll listen to it. I mean, that's sort of the way the American system works. I mean, you can't totally divorce it from cash.
Absolutely true. And from the Citizens United case to the other cases that the court have ruled, I agree with you. I'm not saying that we should have a reform. I think I'm saying something a little bit different. What I'm saying is I don't have as much cash, but I've got a great message and a lot of momentum. So what I'm trying to show to everyone else out there who is an aspiring politician, which is never thought I'd be calling myself a politician, someone aspiring to public service, that you can do it without the huge amounts of money. Because the day I started to talk about folks about this election, people started saying really large numbers that I'd have to raise pretty quickly. Then I talked to some other close friends who said, no, you can go home and you can be yourself and you can do this campaign in a different way, and you'll get a lot of people behind you. So, yeah, we can't I wish we could, but we can't divorce cash because it is speech. At the same time, I don't think you can buy an election either. So I think so long as the message gets out, people are going to vote on the person who's the best candidate, not the person who's spent the most on the election.
I do find it interesting, and I know we're out of time with you, how people equate campaign messages on TV with credibility. I just find it astounding that for one day they can be supporting you, but if somebody runs a negative campaign against you because you are ascending in the polls, it can almost knock you out.
It's tough. It's a battle we're facing, but luckily we do have the internet. We've got Facebook.com, Ken for Congress. I mean that's a place where people can congregate. They can.
What are your addresses where people can learn more about you, Ken?
Sure. Let me tell you. It's my website is voteken2012.com. Pretty easy. And then you can also see me on Facebook. That's a great place to interact with me. It's Facebook.com/Ken for Congress. Twitter, the same thing, twitter.com/Ken for Congress, and I'm on there. I mean, it's really me. Sure, we've got volunteers and stuff. I mean, we've got other people working as well, but I'm the one pulling the trigger and writing most of the tweets and posts myself. And, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to talk. Also just wanted to briefly just say, I think it's okay for ministers and pastors to go into public service as long as they're authentic about who they are. Because I think as a Christian, you should be able to not divide yourself, but be one person. At the same time, you should never be using that, like the church, as some way to, promote yourself in a way that's just unfair. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm just who I am. This is what I do. This is who I am. And I think people will like the message.
Well, if they sound more like you, then I'm all for pastors running for Congress. You've changed my mind.
Too.
Yeah,
I have to agree with that on Armstrong. I wish more of the pastors who are in Congress, thought like Ken does, and had his background.
And we really wish you well, and we're going to continue to update you, our audience, on your race. We're going to keep it in focus because it's close to our flagship station in Columbia, South Carolina. So we're going to be following you and keeping you on the air and just track to see how you're doing.
Thank you so much. We've got a lot of momentum, and there's a lot of excitement. So y'all keep doing your great work, and just thanks for the opportunity to talk about these important issues facing our country and facing the 9th District.
And thank you for joining us. Logan and I will be back to our open phone lines, 733-5620, 1-866-620-6650. Don't go away.
For more information on the Armstrong-Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong-Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Remember, tattoos are permanent. The words are
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sports shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Elder chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, I don't know if you followed the story today where there was a life sentence in Mississippi for a hate crime case. And Logan, are you with me? Logan will call back, but I want to talk about this. I don't know if you remember the case where this gentleman by the name of James Craig Anderson, who died for absolutely no reason at all, where these young white kids were driving around looking for black people to beat and kill. And there were 6 or 7, and they ranged in ages 17 to 19, went out with the intention of harm, and in this case to kill a black man. They drove 60 miles into vehicles from Rankin County to Jackson, where after exiting the highway, they found Anderson alone in a parking lot about 4 a.m. on June 26. The white men allegedly beat Anderson repeatedly, yelling racial epithets, and after the beating, the Deadman guy, who was sentenced today, drove his Ford F-250 truck over Mr. Anderson, leaving him to die, according to what some of the teens cooperating with the police have told authorities. You know, I just don't understand how this is raising its ugly head again. You look at, Logan, right in your backyard of Florida, where there's just another case where apparently this young man was in this neighborhood, and this kid, Zimmerman, decided to shoot him in cold blood. It was just absolutely murder, if you ask me. And how this kid is able to walk around and not being arrested is it's just mind-boggling to me. I mean, have we changed, and have we come as far as we think we have?
Armstrong, there are a lot of crazy people in the world, and there are a number of intolerant people. We're never going to live in a society where everybody is perfectly tolerant, everybody's perfectly sane, rational. I think we just have to look at the fact that there are crimes that are committed by people who, either because they're driven by hate, whether that's a religious hate, this thing that happened in France. I mean, this is not unique to the United States. You read in France where a gunman went in and shot several students and teachers at a Jewish school in France. I mean, this stuff goes on all over the place. You find in Egypt, you find a bunch of Muslims going in and shooting cops, and killing cops, and Coptic Christians. This is not unique to the United States. It's not unique to this point in history. We can all go back and point to numerous examples. I think it's something that, you know, we have to do what we can in society to discourage people from behaving in this way, but we have to recognize that it, you know, I don't know that you can keep it from happening.
You know, I have to tell you this. I'm just sorry. Listen, whether it's in France, whether it's in Mississippi, whether it's in Florida, there's just no place for these kinds of crimes. There's just no place for it. I mean, and then the other thing is you have similar crimes in these inner cities. The black-on-black crime is out of control, and yet you don't see the same level of outrage against the crimes we're discussing today.
You know, there's one group of crimes which, of these these hate crimes, which are institutionalized and organized. I'm much more concerned about institutions that organize hate crimes against other groups than the lone wolf. There's not much you can do about that. You know, if that person's crazy walking around, I don't know how you protect yourself. But you know, you can look at institutions which promote hate. And I think the only thing you can do is basically just sort of do your best to address the institutions that are producing this hate, this kind of hatred, and to see what you can do, you know, in our free society at least to discredit these organizations.
But how do you listen, Logan? When you hear that this guy Dedmon drove the F-250 out of the parking lot and turned right onto Ellis Avenue, just as he turned right, his lights shone directly on Anderson, who, having been severely beaten, was stumbling in a grassy area near the hotel's entrance. This guy accelerated, drove onto an over-the-street curb, and struck this man with the front of his F-250. I mean, this is almost unheard of. You don't see stuff like this in the movies. I'm telling you, man, it is a cause to bring back hanging and public execution. I'm telling you. I mean, we should not tolerate this on any level.
I don't tolerate this.
If the government does not do anything about this, you will bring it back. You will bring back vigilante justice. There are parents out there who are not going to take somebody killing their loved one in this kind of manner. I'm telling you,
Armstrong.
This is crazy.
Well, what do you suggest?
Public executions and hangings. Bring them back. Thomas, you have a comment? Absolutely. And I don't think there's one person listening to this show today that would disagree. Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, we've never stooped, even as we're victimized to the level of depravity and indifference and brutality of those who have perpetrated these things. This is a legacy. This is a psychos. And the world, the free world, as you call it, has for centuries, and I won't go so far, but what I would like to say, Mr. Williams, is and the gentleman who called himself a full-square constitutionalist, this is part of the American Constitution. When that document was written, we were supposed to be permanent slaves.
Listen, can we just stick with the subject here? We're talking about someone.
What's so different from what I'm saying about the subject?
This is not a part of the American Constitution.
Hey man, violence and killing black folks is as
I'm talking about the killing of anyone in this manner. I don't care what their color is. I'm talking about human beings.
Black America has always been victimized.
I don't care.
For you to be outraged and surprises me.
Oh, it doesn't surprise
Violence
you?
Against black people is as American as apple
It doesn't surprise you that somebody's going to get in their S-250 after they beat you to death and drive over you?
I'm 62 years old, Armstrong. I grew up here in South Carolina. When I was growing up, a black man could be killed for looking at a white woman.
It is 2012. Much has changed in case you haven't checked.
Tell you good white folks to act like it. They can't act like that because it's not part of them.
Okay, then what do you call it when these black boys kill each other in the same manner? What do you call that?
What I call is black people killing each
other.
But
are you just as outraged about that?
I certainly am.
Well, good. Thank you for calling. Alan.
And I certainly will call again.
Thank you.
Sir.
Alan, you're on the air. Go ahead.
How you doing today? All right, Armstrong, you had me on your side for the day for a while, but you made a statement about bringing back public lynching.
Oh, listen, let me tell you something. I understand. Look, I understand what you're saying, but let me tell you something. I don't have a problem with public executions. I can tell you that right now.
But that's what I'm saying. But what I want to make the comment on that is, if you look at who or what group is convicted the most of crime, that's exactly what the controllers want to hear from another black man, is what you just said. That's all for the comment for today.
Excuse me? Wait a minute. Logan, did I miss something?
Alan, you want to repeat that?
He's gone. What did I miss? What did I miss? What was he saying?
I think he's saying that you are acting as an apologist for black-on-black crime, but I don't think that's what you meant to say, and I would not have interpreted it that way.
I don't see how he can interpret it that way.
I don't either.
I'm speechless.
Look, whenever there's an interracial crime,
Logan, I don't care about the race of the people. I just care about the inhumanity that is displayed. How can someone be so cold at 19? What are their parents teaching them? What are their environments reinforcing? People like this don't deserve to live. They don't even deserve life.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but in America, especially in the South, when there's interracial crime, it takes on, just given the history of where we are today, it takes on a different emotional impact. And so, quite frankly, you can attribute somebody doing this because, they would do this to somebody of their own race just because they're crazy, or maybe they've got some kind of hatred for black people or hatred for Jews or some other different ethnic group. The only thing you can do about it is to try to make sure that the institutional setup in America discourages that.
And that's listen. I have to tell you, I'm just
and whether that's public hangings and public executions, I don't know.
I'm horrified by this story. I must tell you, it is shocking to me that someone could be that cold, that vicious, that inhumane, that you could just kill someone in such a vicious and hateful way.
But Armstrong, that happens all this time. What about that guy that,
hold that point. Hold that guy. Hold that point. Logan Delany, Armstrong Williams. Don't go away. We'll be back.
7,000 high school.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com.
So here's a 26-second
there you can find his syndicated column archive.
Hi, I'm Maria.
View live streams.
You don't know me, but I'm proud
and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream?
Do you have 26 seconds to convince a student to stay at their desk?
Do you need affordable web services
or
tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off?
And take the first step.
Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfila.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfila.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, I found it interesting today, Logan. Fed Chair Alan Greenspan said that there was little or no chance that the United States could ever become a Greece in terms of the debt crisis that it's facing. Do you agree?
No, I absolutely do not agree. I think we could very easily become a Greece. I mean, as things stand right now, the United States is debt is equal to 100% of the GDP. And at the rate we're going, in about 5 years, it'll be equal to about 150% of GDP. Now, as I recall, Greece's ratio of debt to GDP is approximately 130%. So the only difference I see between the United States and Greece, and it's a crucial and a very critical difference, is that there's still a residual respect in the United States for people working and paying their bills. And, you know, most Americans don't expect the state to take care of them. Whereas I think in Greece, they've gotten beyond that kind of ethic. But at the rate we're going, we could well end up in a situation where most Americans say, hey, you know, let the state take care of us. You know, we don't have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our mortgage payments, you know, we get underwater on our mortgage, the state will force the bank to renegotiate and take it over for us. And, you know, if we don't save enough money for our old age, you know, they'll pick up our medical expenses and they'll pick up, our living expenses. I mean, you know, if people have that kind of attitude, then we're in real trouble, and we will become a Greece. But the government sets up the incentives that enable people to have those kind of attitudes. And I think we have to be very careful that we don't elect a government that enables us to display behavior which is not responsible as individuals and as a nation.
How important is the fall election?
You know, in my judgment, we're at one of those critical junctures where the people in the United States have to decide whether they see this country as sort of a socialist Western European type of democracy, or whether we're going to become or remain what we were and go back to being a more dynamic, individualist, free capitalist society with small government, relatively low taxes, and where the individual is basically responsible for him or herself. You know, there are arguments on both sides, and I think it's a pretty clear-cut path of, you know, if you re-elect President Obama and people elect a Democratic Congress and a Democratic Senate, we will go the way of socialist Europe, and it will just be a matter of time and not a long time before we become like Greece, because, you know, we're spending so much more money than we have. On the other hand, if we elect, Republican Congress, Republican President, and a Republican Senate, I think there will be, it won't stop that from occurring, but certainly will put it back and will reverse the social welfare tendencies that the Democrats have. And hopefully the Republicans will have enough guts to look at our laws and say, okay, let's eliminate some of those laws, regulations, and taxes which take the incentives out of America from having the kind of society and values that made this country great and strong.
So you really believe and have faith that Republicans, if given the trust again, can make a difference in turning this economy around, that they are that distinguished from Democrats?
I personally do.
Because when I look at what they've done with the deficit, man, it makes me pause.
Who did what with the deficit?
I mean, look at what they've done with the deficit. The Republicans are just as guilty as the deficit as the Democrats. Look at how they're reacting to Ryan Paul's budget.
I got to tell you, if the Republicans, and I said that the Republicans have to be true to what they're saying, and if the Republicans just want to maintain power in Washington, if they just want to spend other people's money, if they want to basically stay on Capitol Hill and get those great pensions when they retire, they will do nothing. Okay, but if they really care about America, they will do what many other Republicans and certainly the Tea Party faction and the civil libertarian faction of the party is saying, which is we want to see smaller government, lower taxes, more incentive, less regulation, more incentive for business to grow this economy. And so the Republicans really, if Republicans get the power again in this election, they have to be true to what that faction of the party is saying.
Let me come back to what we were discussing earlier. I don't understand this. I don't want you to call me naive, out of touch. I don't understand how this kid in Florida could be shot. To me, it just looked absolutely like it's cold-blooded murder. And this happened around February 26th. Obviously, the sheriff in that area investigated, came to a conclusion that no charges should be brought against Zimmerman, the shooter. Now there's an uproar in the media. People are coming up with the facts. And if you listen to the tape and you follow the evidence, and I've been following this, it is clear that there's only one conclusion that you can come to, that Zimmerman should have been arrested. How is it that the Florida sheriff and law enforcement violated and shirked their responsibilities? How could they miss this?
Armstrong, you're going to have to ask somebody else that question. I don't know.
But I'm asking you, how is it possible?
I don't know. I can't answer it. You're putting me into a, you're asking me to address an issue that I don't understand.
You have an opinion on everything else.
Well, I have an opinion.
And we just want your opinion.
I have an opinion that the sheriff should have done more at the beginning. Now, why he did it or not, I don't know. I don't know enough about it.
How long can the stock market keep up its pace, Logan?
What did it do today, Armstrong? Is it up or down?
It's riding high, Logan.
No, it's down.
But down
45 points.
It's just 35 points. It's not that bad.
No, but that's my point. The stock market's up and down. It goes up and down with a lot of, there are a lot of issues which bring it up and a lot of issues which bring it down. I think it's very, very difficult to predict the stock market in the short term. I think eventually the stock market will go up because, America has a very dynamic economy, a very dynamic people, and we have a lot of very dynamic businesses. I think the only cloud on the horizon is a political cloud. And it's the thing that we were talking about a few minutes ago, which has to do with are we going to create an environment in America which business can thrive, which is low taxes, small government, less regulation, or are we going to create an environment where we're talking about the government redistributing income and acting as a nanny state and telling us how to live? Are we going to give up our freedom?
Don't you think the government has just been plundering the wealth class, and that is not the answer?
Well, I think the government has not only been plundering the wealthy class. I think that what they're doing is plundering the middle class, and the middle class doesn't know it.
And why is it they don't realize that they're being plundered?
Well, because one of the ways that the middle class is being plundered is that there's a hidden tax that's about to come up in the United States called inflation. And we're seeing it's starting with oil prices. And one of the reasons why oil prices have increased so much in the last 2 or 3 years is that it's not just the world situation in the Middle East, but it's the fact that the Federal Reserve has printed 3 times as much money as we had 3 or 4 years ago. So when you increase the supply of money, it creates inflation. And since oil is an international commodity, which is priced in dollars, the people outside the United States saying, hey...
Oh, my goodness, Logan, we're out of time, man.
Yeah.
Where did the time go? I always enjoy talking to you. I get lost in it. Logan, thank you. And we want to thank our earlier guest, Ken Leonczyk, for joining us. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
For more information on the Armstrong-Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated...
I dare you to listen